you learn really fast if you're actually okay with it or not. So some people think they're okay with it and very rapidly realize that they are not. Most people, if they're okay with it, continue to be okay with it, and other people have sort of limits. What are they comfortable doing? What are they not comfortable doing?
People are becoming more confident and more transparent about the research and talking about it more, and I think that is extremely important. Every time you take pretty much a pharmaceutical agent, you are actually benefiting from many years of research on humans and on animals, and of course that research benefits animals as well.
About 2/3 of the work that we do is with human volunteers, but the important thing about the animals is that they allow us to manipulate in very precise ways some of these circuits that we're looking at. That gives us key insights into how some of these areas are going wrong in psychological illnesses such as depression.
Most of the research doesn't harm the monkeys. For example, these images published today in the journal Neuron compare human and monkey brain scans. But some of the macaques have been given small brain lesions, so the role of these damaged areas can be studied, something that couldn't be done with humans. Monkeys are among our closest relatives in the animal world, so experiments on them are more strictly controlled than any other species. Last year, out of 4 million procedures in the UK, 3,000 were on monkeys.
Remember, it hurts.
They bleed just like we do.
They suffer just as we do.
They feel lonely and sad just like we do.
They want to live
just like we do.
Because when it comes to pain, hunger, and thirst,
and not wanting to die,
we're all basically the same.
All this while more sophisticated non-animal test methods exist.
Because testing on animals gives faulty results.
Because it was wrong when we did it to orphans, blacks, GIs, and gypsies.
So right now we're outside the Lush Regent Street shop, and we have just witnessed some pretty brutal animal tests being enacted on a human test subject. A young girl called Nicole, who's 23 years old, a vegan and a performance artist. This is an issue that she cares massively about, and I think there's still worse to come. So at the moment we're only at 11:30. This series of animal tests is going to last all day. It's an endurance performance. The objective of Lush is to take animals out of cosmetics testing, first in the EU, and then we want to see that across the world. So many people really don't realise that animal testing in laboratories is going on for the cosmetics industry, and that they're killing millions of animals a year. You know, it's a completely frivolous use, and also it's very unreliable, the data that you get anyway.
Animal testing should now simply be consigned to the history books. We now have modern methods of testing drugs. We have computer modelling, we have cell culture, all of which are much more relevant to the human condition and actually are more predictive.
So what we've done is we've developed a simple amoeba called Dictyostelium to substitute for animals in epilepsy research. Using a simple model like an amoeba has a huge number of advantages, scientific advantages as well as ethical advantages. So we've been able to do experiments that are very difficult to do in mammalian systems, in rats, and that has allowed us to make breakthroughs that other people haven't been able to do using animals. When I publish, my papers are sent to senior people in the area, and most of those senior people have based their careers on using animals. So we often get the response, yes, Robin, that's very interesting, but actually do it all again in an animal. And that I find incredibly frustrating.